Star Wars fans are a bunch of misogynistic pigs. Right? Right? No. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about Star Wars. I haven't gotten into it too much, but I brought into the studio today an actual woman.
Yes.
My wife, Geeky Sparkles,
yes,
who's actually here, and she's got some opinions on
I always
Star
have
Wars.
opinions.
She has always got opinions, yeah. So, this is complicated. We haven't done a lot. I mean, we've done a couple of Star Wars videos. I've sort of touched on it. Everybody is out there complaining about Star Wars now. Like, everybody's whining about Star Wars. The Last Jedi really rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, including apparently Mark Hamill, who was kind of afraid to say anything at first because he was afraid he wouldn't get paid or something. But now, it's kind of coming out that he wasn't too happy with it either. So, but now the Lucasfilm, Kathleen Kennedy and Rian Johnson, those folks are all like, hey, it's the fandom's fault. It's because they're all a bunch of misogynistic male fans, basement-dwelling, fans, and the women think it's fine, and I'm bringing you in.
Yes, because I'm a woman. I don't think it's fine.
Okay, so now a little backstory. Geeky Sparkles here is actually a huge Star Wars fan.
Yes.
I would even say she's a bigger Star Wars fan than I am.
I used to sell toys in college, put myself through college. I used to collect all the old vintage toys. When you met me, you said you never met a girl who knew more about Star Wars than you did.
Yeah, and it was slightly intimidating and a little bit sexy. So anyway, we hooked up and now we have kids. But
make sure they know that you got the girl that was the geek. Right. I hooked up with that, guys.
Yeah, right.
Just so you know, it's possible.
No. So anyway, we're watching. I've been watching these videos for a couple of months now, and it's like a train wreck in slow motion. Like, seriously. And then watching Lucasfilm like attack the fans. Like, I've never seen. The only other time I've seen anything like this is with Marvel Comics, but not to the extent
only
that,
recently in Marvel
it's only
Comics.
been recently.
That's
but
a whole other podcast.
Lucasfilm, I swear to God, they don't want people to come back to the movies. I cannot believe this.
Back in the day, if it didn't work, hey, clearly it was our fault. We messed up. We'll take responsibility for it. Now the MO is, it didn't work. You don't like my vision. You're personally insulting me. So it's all your fault. It's because you're a misogynist or a racist or whatever there is out there. It's not because I might have, it's not that I, didn't deliver what I should have delivered on. It's all your fault for not liking my vision.
Yeah, pretty much. I've never... I mean, this is a pretty recent thing, and this seems to be happening more and more in pop culture, where...
I think it's because people they're putting in positions to run this stuff don't actually know the source material.
Well, Kathleen Kennedy kind of does, but, I mean, she worked with George Lucas, and she worked with Steven Spielberg.
I like that one comment someone made, though, and I kind of agree with that.
About her being the coffee girl.
I don't know if she was a coffee girl, but I think it is, almost a revenge type thing. I'm in charge now, bitch, kind of thing. You know?
That's the thing. She's made comments in interviews that does sort of I mean, she does seem really bitter.
That's what I think it's about.
She did have a hard time of it in Hollywood, working on the kinds of movies that she did. Establishing herself, because it was a boys'
It's hard. It is hard.
It was a boys' club. I will give her that. But now it almost seems like it's well, now I'm gonna smack you all down.
There's a trend in social media. I've noticed it. I'm a girl, and I can say this. I've noticed it a lot, where it's you've kept us down. We're gonna blame. You being a general you, instead of going after the specific people. It's all of one certain type of people. So instead, we want true diversity. We want true equality, and our version of true, I'm making quotes, is revenge. It's not actually true diversity or true equality. It's revenge. Is what they're equating to diversity and equality, and that's not the same thing.
Yeah, it's almost like Revenge of the Nerds,
It is. It's not equality or diversity. It's revenge. Is what I mean. When you look down to it and boil it down to what it is, it's not even about true diversity or true equality. It's about revenge.
Yeah, and this is just I just can't believe that Disney lets Lucasfilm get away with a lot of what they're saying.
I mean, too.
I mean, you look at how Lucasfilm is handling Star Wars criticism and how they're handling the movies compared to Marvel Studios. I mean, Marvel Studios delivers crowd pleaser after crowd pleaser.
Studios, not the comics.
Right, not the comics. That's a whole other issue. But they knocked it out of the park. I mean,
they do a great job.
Infinity War this weekend, they knocked it out of the park. They exceeded fan expectations in the right way, whereas Lucasfilm just seems more and more intent on just taking everything everybody loves about Star Wars and just tearing it down just for the sake of pissing people off, and then complaining when people don't like the product.
Right, and saying it's their fault. Well, it was
like,
funny, not to bring it back to Marvel again, but I thought it was funny because then we just saw that article today about that they still can't like it. Even though it's a great movie and it's fair and it's inclusive and they did a great job with it, it's not good enough because women have long hair and that wouldn't be accurate.
That was
so there's always somebody that's going to whine about something, and they just want a platform to whine about. That's all they want, is a platform to whine on, I think.
Well, the thing is, what gets me though is that they seem to think, and this, the reason we're kind of jumping into it now with opinions, is that it seemed like they tried to dismiss the people who didn't like The Last Jedi, don't like the direction that Star Wars is going in, as being a very small group, and I am not seeing that. I'm seeing this as actually being the majority of Star Wars fans, at least
there's
old
not always
school.
as vocal as other people.
No, and this is going to be really interesting to see how this affects Han Solo. Yeah, because they're Disney put some numbers out there. I think a week or two ago they said that, hey, it's tracking a $150 million opening weekend. I don't believe that.
I don't either.
I don't believe it at all. There's like zero excitement about this.
Well,
film.
I want to go record as saying I really want it to be good.
Yeah.
I mean, I personally am hoping that everybody's wrong and it's amazing, because that's my wish. I'm not thinking I'm going to get that wish, but I'm really, 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 truly hoping. I want it to succeed. I just don't know if it's going to. But I also know if it fails, it's going to be, your fault, not my fault, because I'm a girl.
So yeah, I think it's just this is going to be a really interesting situation to watch unfold, and this is happening more and more where it seems like the people who produce the content, are biting the hands that feed them. I mean, literally are. And I understand that fandom technically doesn't own.
Right.
They don't own the franchise. They don't own, but in a way they kind of do, because they're the ones who pay for everything. I mean, they're the ones who watch stuff.
They're trying to get their personal platform, their personal messages across using something that's really big, because I know people will see it. Doesn't mean that they have to like it.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, look, if you've got your own, wacky political views or whatever you want to push, then go write a book on your own and publish it on Kindle or whatever, or go find a publisher. But you're right. The reason that these folks,
clamor to get hold of these large properties,
right, is it's a built-in audience. It's a built-in audience. But then, you can't take that audience and then piss all over them and then complain when they get angry. And just I cannot believe some of the things that have come out of Lucasfilm regarding the fan backlash to the. I mean, they've tried saying that like the Rotten Tomatoes scores were Russian bots and all kinds of like crazy, like that's not the case. I mean, look at Avengers. Avengers has like last time I checked, like a 93% audience approval rating.
If you haven't seen Avengers, go see it.
Yeah, because they delivered, and this is kind of both are Disney divisions, but like Marvel Studios consistently delivers grade A popcorn movie,
and they do it in a way that is actually pretty much equal. Like you have strong females, strong males. Everybody is to their character as they've been to their character. You aren't like belittling one character to make another character stronger. They aren't putting these hey, look, surprise, here's a strong female lead character we never mentioned before, it's going to come in and take over everything. They didn't do that. They didn't need to.
They've kept I mean, most of the characters in the Marvel universe, they are in the Marvel Studios, they've actually kept the core of what worked for the character in the comics.
Right.
They might have changed a couple of things here and there, but for the most part, what you see in the film is basically what was in the comics.
But even from the film standpoint, the Thor from 2 movies ago is still the Thor you have now.
Yeah.
The Captain America from 2 movies ago is still the Captain America you have now.
Right.
And there isn't like, surprise, here's a rando female character with pink hair or purple hair, what the heck hair she had.
And she's better
and she's going to go save all of you. You never heard of her before, and she should be doing what Leia's doing.
That's Captain Marvel.
But Leia's in a coma.
That's Captain Marvel.
Yeah, I did notice that.
She's going to show up at the,
Yeah, I actually said it to you, actually.
Yeah.
I'm like, I set that up.
I think that, well, I mean, it's a whole other topic, but I think the movie version Captain Marvel is going to be more like Wonder Woman.
I hope so.
But
Wonder Woman was awesome.
Yeah, I just don't understand. I mean, the whole point of, and we can go into The Last Jedi, and I guess the point of the video is going to be, will the backlash brewing now affect the Han Solo
definitely.
movie? I absolutely think it's going to. I think it's...
We were not to bring Avengers up again.
No, we can bring it up because
when we were at the theater to see the Avengers. We were at a theater and it was and actually our target demographic was at the theater with us. It was a lot of college age.
It was almost all college.
It was all college people. A lot. There was adults and stuff too, but a lot of college kids.
Like
and
2 other families.
Yeah, it was the whole theater was filled with these people.
Yeah.
And when they ran they ran a little teaser thing. Not before they ran the trailer for Solo. They ran like a teaser thing about Solo, and the guy behind us was like, he's like, oh yeah, they're gonna build my hopes up again. What did he say exactly?
I think he said, yeah, they're gonna build my hopes up, and then they're gonna send it crashing into a cliff.
Yeah, I'm not falling for that again.
Other people, okay, so just to back, so we're watching the Deadpool trailer. Actually, came on before Solo, and people were cheering. They were like, "This is amazing. Deadpool's gonna be fantastic."
It does look really good, by the way.
Yeah, it looks awesome, and the audience was pumped. And as soon as Solo came on, which was the trailer right before they started Infinity War.
People were on their phones.
They were on their phones. The people were getting up to pee. There was muffled coughing, some grumbling, and just people were not excited.
People were like kind of like making comments like, "Well, I don't want to watch that."
Yeah,
if it's like the last one, forget it. You lost me.
And I think too the fact that it's coming out so close to the Last Jedi. Last Jedi created such a pardon my French shitstorm that it's
still fresh in people's minds.
If
they had let it die down,
in people's minds, and
it's still fresh shit.
It's still fresh shit. And what's going on is like people are just not. They're still angry about the Last Jedi. It just came out on Blu-ray, which started the whole thing up again.
They're not selling. The videos aren't selling. That's something else the guy behind me said too. He's like, they want $25 for that. He goes, I'm not buying it. He's like, I'm not giving them a penny for it.
The Last Jedi was the first Star Wars movie I've never purchased.
Yeah, we didn't buy it.
I've had multiple versions of the original trilogy. Bought all the prequels on DVD. I bought The Force Awakens and Rogue One on digital, and I'm not buying The Last Jedi.
I love Rogue One.
Yeah, Rogue One. Now here's
that was a female lead, and it was fine.
Right, and there's a difference though. There's a difference. I think with Rogue One,
they tried really hard to make it fit.
They tried to make it fit. It didn't feel like there was any pandering going on. No. It was an organic story, and it was entertaining. It didn't feel like that was one that I did not feel like I was being preached at.
Yes, I would agree with that.
It was a story. It fit.
Which is a good story.
Yeah, it was. It fit within the established Star Wars universe. They didn't retcon anything really. I mean, this could have happened, and then they made sure they disposed of all the characters, before A New Hope. But it fit. And that and that's why we kind of had some hopes for Solo, was that this would fit. And with
I'm still hoping. I'm still,
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to go see it, and I'm still hoping it's good. I mean, I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt, and I'm still hoping they don't disappoint me again. If they do, I'm done.
Well, see, this is the thing. This isn't like an anti... Now, they're trying to make it out like this is like everybody's anti-Star Wars, and we're not. Like, The Force Awakens, we've had mixed feelings about...
Okay. Yeah, The Force Awakens was A New Hope all over again. I'm sorry. It
was.
I
mean, other than, but I will give
I came out of there like, that was just A New Hope again.
I will give it the fact that even though it was repetitive and it pretty much
you can watch it again, though.
It was still an entertaining movie.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't terrible.
And even, it was nice to see Han Solo behave as Han Solo. Even though they killed him off, he was Han Solo until the very end. And Harrison Ford, everybody's known, Harrison Ford wanted out of Star Wars for years. And he got his wish.
We all kind of figured that was going to happen.
Right. That was probably his condition for coming back, was like, yeah, I'll come back, but you have to kill me because I don't want to be in any more after this. And they're like, okay, cool. We'll do that. But that's different than the character assassination that took place with Luke Skywalker, where Luke was not Luke.
It was sad Luke.
And
sad, bitter Luke.
Like you said, there were these other characters that were introduced completely out of left field that had brought nothing to the story, and they were there just
look, it's a woman.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, you could take Holdo and you could take what's her face? Rose out of the story, and it doesn't change anything. I mean, seriously, like, you could have given that part to other characters that were already there, that were already established.
Right. Well, they already killed. They showed at the beginning. Did we mention let it die, let the past die?
Yeah.
Did you get the message that you need to kill it? Kill all the things that you loved, because they made sure they destroyed anybody that was from the old movies that was still on the bridge. They were all dead. Except for Leia, who somehow forced Jesus herself. Our son says forced Jesus herself to the back of the ship. And then she was in a coma for the whole movie. And they give us other characters thinking that Leia would have done.
Seriously, yeah, exactly.
If they had made Leia be the one that crashed the ship, or Akbar.
Yeah, and yeah, Akbar dies off screen. Like, then they make a big deal about this. They bring the Holdo character in, and they make a big deal about her.
But make sure you know she's better than the men. She's better than Poe. Poe's just a man who wants to take over.
They kill her anyway.
I like Poe.
Like, I'm like, I thought she was actually gonna. I thought they were gonna kill off Leia, and she was gonna be like the new Leia or the new Mon Mothma, and they were gonna keep her around for the next movie. And they don't do that. I mean, you know, we could go on and on. Well, we'll probably do some more videos on The Last Jedi. I mean, my point here being that I think the criticism about The Last Jedi is completely warranted, and I do believe it's going to affect Solo. I think it's going to affect Episode 9. I think it's you know, I'm not going to say franchise killer, because Star Wars is still going to make money.
The small percent who actually like Last Jedi will still like it.
Yeah, but I mean, people are still going to go see Solo hoping it's going to be good. But
I am.
Is it going to be the box office juggernaut that it was before? Deadpool's gonna.
It's gonna kick its rear.
Yeah.
It's gonna kill shot. Haha.
No, it is. I mean, Deadpool is the biggest threat, right? Because I mean, people are already on the edge about. You know, I mean, it's like a 1-2 punch. You've got backlash against the Last Jedi, and your core geek audience is gonna go to Deadpool. They're gonna go. I'm gonna go to Deadpool. I mean, if I got to choose between one or the other, I'm gonna go see Deadpool before I go see Solo.
Probably.
You know, and the only reason I'd go see Solo is to see if it's a train wreck or not, and I'm not convinced it's. You know, and then you have to wonder, like, okay, so if Solo does underperform, what does that mean for? I mean, will Lucasfilm actually take a hint and be like, let's rethink Episode 9 a little bit? Let's maybe take an extra. I don't know if they
can do anything to salvage Episode 9 at this point.
They've killed everybody. Like, everybody's dead.
What got me was The Last Jedi was basically everything they set up in The Force Awakens, they just got rid of. So, like, there's some things that, you know, it might have got your attention. Like, okay, well, who's Snoke? Where'd he come from?
I've been wondering who Snoke was.
Oh, he's a big nobody, even though I don't think he's necessarily dead. And then they have this big thing, like, where, like, in Empire Strikes Back, where he was called into the cave and he went in and faced, you know. Yeah. They have her go there and she's a big nobody and there's, like, nothing that she's really challenged by.
She is herself.
And then she's sucked in there. Don't go in there, it's dangerous. And there's no danger to that at all.
Yeah, and really all
I was like, that wasn't dangerous. That was just pointless.
I know. All I got out of that was Rey is just Rey, and Rey's like infinite or something.
No, I think they're trying to set up that anybody can be a Jedi. I don't want to be like this because
everybody
I'm
gets
old.
a participation.
I don't want to sound like I'm old, but I think it is because I've noticed a definite difference between people from the generation that grew up with Star Wars and the generation that's growing up with the new ones that are like, well, not the prequels, but the new ones. Is that in general, and you see this on social media a lot, is that we're all equal. Unless, you know, they're trying to get across that you're an ist of some kind. And that everybody deserves an award. And everybody's there. Kumbaya, everyone. Kumbaya. Everyone can be a Jedi. But that goes against everything Star Wars was, because the Jedi were special. The Jedi, only certain people could be Jedi.
Right.
And now anybody can be a Jedi.
Yeah, and I understand people didn't care for the midichlorian explanation.
Yeah, that was kind of dumb.
But still,
I will say that.
It still meshes with the original trilogy in that, you know, there was a reason Luke and Leia had Force powers.
Right,
and Han Solo didn't.
But now anybody can be. I think that's kind of what they're going by. You know, anybody can be. You can be a Jedi.
And you can be a Jedi.
And even you.
Everybody can be a Jedi.
Your dog can be a Jedi.
Your lightsaber's under the seat.
Bad enough. Just look. And I think that kind of, like, you know, it's kind of like what they in Incredibles. You know, I'll sell my weapons to everyone, and then everybody's super. No one is. And that's kind of like what it does. Is it kind of just.
Yeah, and that's exactly what's going on. And I think Disney probably wants to sell that because
it's not working because the toys didn't sell and the movies aren't selling.
Well, I think they want to sell the fantasy because I'm thinking the theme parks because they want you to like go to the theme park and feel like you're a Jedi.
But people were going to do that either way.
Right, they're going to go anyway.
Everybody wants to be a Jedi, but they want to be a Jedi because it makes them special. They don't want to be a Jedi because, hey, everybody in my block can be a Jedi. No one's special.
We're all Jedi here.
The whole reason it worked is because maybe I can be special and someday I can be a Jedi.
Right.
Not oh yeah, of course I'm a Jedi because I'm here.
It was a hero's journey too. I mean, you know, Lucas based Luke on kind of the archetype, the hero's journey, where the hero had a
challenge.
And the special calling,
right.
special ability, special something. You know, the hero had to kind of rise to the challenge, but it wasn't like any rando could just be.
Yeah, not everybody could do that. Not everybody could fight that battle.
Yeah, so. You know, I don't know. I mean, but anyway, I mean, this is like kind of we're all over the place here. But the point of this being is, yes, you know, without going into a whole bunch of politics or whatever, I absolutely think the backlash toward the Last Jedi is brand damaging. I think it's going to hurt the franchise going forward.
Yeah.
I think it's absolutely going to impact Solo's opening weekend, and I think it's going to kill a lot of excitement for episode 9 unless they pull off, unless they retcon a lot of what happened in episode 8, which they could do. They
already retconned episode 7.
Yeah, they could have, Snoke could come back. Maybe they kill the Force projection. It wasn't actually Snoke. Maybe Luke Skywalker comes back as a ghost.
He's not going to come back.
I think Mark Hamill at this point is so soured on Star Wars.
No.
I would be completely shocked if he came back. Obviously, Carrie Fisher is not going to be in the movie. So we've got, and I think the thing that actually, with all of this, though, that kills me the most is all the fans wanted when they announced that they were doing a sequel trilogy was to see Han, Luke, and Leia in the same room together one last time. And they didn't, one last trip on the Falcon. And that one simple thing they could have done that would have made fans extremely happy, and they ruined it. Like, how do you ruin that? How do you intentionally... you've got pictures, and they sold it that way. They had pictures of everybody together, smiling like, "Hey, we're getting the band back together. We're getting the," and they couldn't even do that one thing for the fans.
Yeah, because no one expected them to be the main focus. They knew there'd be new characters. They knew they would have to continue it. But they thought that they would be there to pass the baton to the new characters together, and they'd be on the adventure with them.
Right.
And that's what I expected.
So they break Han and Leia up. They turn Luke into a sad sack, depressed shell of a man, and that doesn't happen. And they started out in the wrong foot. And I guess my feeling on this is, you had the perfect opportunity, you blew it. The fans are complaining, and you know what? They're going to complain with their wallets. And the Last Jedi dropped off a cliff after the first week or so. And the toys are not selling, the merchandise is not selling, and I think Solo is going to be a cluster. I think it'll make money, but it's not going to be a Star Wars level event, and you have nobody to blame but yourselves. So there you go. Okay, so to bring it back to wrap this up, and I got a little long-winded, and I apologize for that, but like, do you think that the complaining is just because these guys are misogynistic pigs?
No, I don't. I think some people can be. I think that a lot of the criticisms I'm hearing are justified criticisms. I've actually had to go online to bat for a couple of men who these women were like, you don't get to say that because you're a guy and it's written for you and this is fine for us and everything else. And I'm like, you know what? I'm a chick and I liked it before it was cool to like it. I took so much crap for liking it when I was a kid, back before women were allowed to like things, supposedly. And I think a lot of people coming in there and they have justifiable complaints, because I came out of Last Jedi and I was like, what the heck was that? I mean, the humor did not fit Star Wars. It didn't feel like Star Wars. They destroyed Luke. And then they're all saying, well, you don't like strong female leads. You don't like, because you don't like Rey. I think Rey is Mary Sue, and I've said that since the very first, The Force Awakens.
Yeah, that's true, because actually we came out of the theater, and I was afraid to say it. I actually was a little more forgiving about it than she was, but she did everything well with no...
Yeah, she knew how to block Kylo Ren's mind reading. She knew how to do the Force. She knew how to defeat him. He's had years of training. She was the Mary Sue to the Mary Sue power. And I was like, I don't like this. And, and all these people were complaining, well, you don't like strong female leads to these men. And you know what? All my friends who thought they were men, not one of them complained about Rey, complained about the strong female leads and things. They were complaining about, well, you made Luke like a punk and and the humor didn't fit. They weren't complaining about the strong female leads. The one who complained about it was me, and I'm a girl.
Yeah, it's funny because I still remember the conversation. I remember walking out of theater, and actually the first thing I remember walking out of theater with Force Awakens was, people really didn't seem that excited. I think because they offed Han, but you were like, well, that sucked.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I wouldn't say it sucked, but it was definitely A New Hope all over again. But at least I guess my feeling on that was, I thought, well, they'll go in some interesting.
Well, the first half hour was good, and then it just became A New Hope, and it just sucked. But The Last Jedi, I came out, within the first, minute, I knew it was going to suck. When they started, your mama prank call joke, I'm like, are you kidding me? This is not Star Wars.
Yeah.
And, I liked Rose. I think Rose could have been a good character, but I think that they were using her just to get a point across of some political view about saving the space horses and, gambling is wrong or rich people are wrong.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much all I got. She had no purpose. There was no purpose. I think the character... like roast herself. The actress is wonderful. I mean,
oh, I love
before,
her. There's no way not to like her. She is the sweetest thing ever.
Yeah, I mean,
I love her.
Nothing against her personally, but like if you're gonna have a character like that, at least give her a good plot line.
I felt bad for her. I felt that they shorted her because the actress, if you see her, she's just so genuinely joyful and excited about everything. You cannot not like her. I mean, she's
got to be.
I love her. I love her.
She has to be wrecked over this. Like everybody's mocking her because of her.
And it's not her fault.
Like burning piles of her action
I
figures.
think she could have done. Her character could have been something awesome, and they just like dropped the ball.
Yeah.
And and I think they dropped the ball with Finn. He had a cool storyline. Then they made him like he's gonna be a defector now and all this stuff at the beginning.
Finn, that made me mad. I'll tell you what, because Finn was hands down my favorite character in The Force Awakens. I loved the storyline. I loved where they're going with it, and then they basically just undid the heroism.
Heroism.
They
made him a puss.
They did. They turned him into a puss. Like he was kind of. Well, I mean, he was a stormtrooper. He couldn't have been that much of a puss, but I mean, he turned around and basically be like Han Solo, going back to smuggling. Oh wait, they did that too. So never mind.
Yeah.
But he redeemed himself by the end of The Force Awakens, and then they just turn around and undid and turned him back into a coward.
Then they redeemed himself. Well, kind of, because he was going to go sacrifice himself. Our son even says this. It makes sense that he would sacrifice himself to save everyone, but she has to knock his ship out of the way because she loves him. But we don't want that female,
I don't.
But then they're putting that, I mean, it's just,
make
up your mind.
Yeah, exactly. Pick your message. Like, if you guys are pushing some agenda, pick the freaking message.
It is, make up your mind, pick a message.
Pushing, and it just seemed like a lot of just...
And then
it was a fan fiction.
Well,
it seemed like it did. It seemed like because they gave Rian Johnson complete control.
Well, I wouldn't say fan fiction because these people admit they didn't really.
It was a Tumblr fan fiction.
I wouldn't think it's a fanfic. I think it's because that requires you to be a fan of the original content. I think it is a wank fest to themselves. I mean, I don't know how else to put that. I could do it better. Kiss my ass. And when you're not doing it, it's all you because you're a misogynist and you're a racist and you don't like strong women. You're just a puss who can't handle strong female characters. No, I can handle strong female characters that are reasonable and make sense and aren't written like crap, like a revenge character, not a actual real person.
I'm still trying to figure out what the point of, other than making money, I still don't know what the point of the sequel trilogy is. Like I said, the best thing they could have done is to get the original 3 leads together in the same room for one last adventure and then pass the baton to the new characters. And they've just dropped the ball. Like they've completely...
Yeah. And yet they have new characters, but I mean, it's just so busy pushing certain agendas.
Yeah.
That it's like they're so busy focusing on, here's the messages we want to get across, their story... Instead of making the story and then maybe putting some messages in there, but making a good story, they're more worried about pushing these messages and the story. Well, hell with that. We'll just retcon it and do whatever we want. We just throw it out, let it die. It's past. But you know what I mean? There's no. It's like
I know.
You should have a good story. You put a message into it, like, not the other way around.
It's almost like, I mean, with Rian Johnson, especially with The Last Jedi, it was like, okay, so we hate what happened with George Lucas's movie, so we're going to let that die. But we also hate what J.J. Abrams did, and we're going to let that die.
That's what I'm saying. It's a wank fest to himself. That's what I'm saying.
It's like the only characters that count are Rian Johnson's characters and Rian Johnson's
Star
Wars.
It reminds me of, and this might get me in trouble too, it reminds me of Doctor Who and Moffat. It's his darlings are, they're the bestest character ever. She can,
River
she
Song
can't
and
die.
Claire are the only people that matter.
Yeah, that's what it kind of reminds me of. It's but his case, it was legit fan. It was more like a fan fiction. This I don't even say it's a fan fiction because when you talk to the guy, he was not a fan.
He says he was, but I'm like,
no,
you cannot be a fan.
He was not. He's lying.
You cannot be a fan of Star Wars and hate Luke Skywalker that much. Like, I think you were the guy
who clearly hates Luke.
I think you were
he hates Poe too.
I think you beat up kids on the playground and took their Star Wars characters and threw them across the playground.
I don't know, but
you took their Star Wars figures at lunch and you whipped them across the playground just to laugh at them or something, because you cannot hate Luke Skywalker as much as you obviously hated Luke Skywalker and call yourself a fan of Star Wars.
Well, everything had to die. We have to kill it. We have to kill it for the new thing. And the new regime is only women.
Only my characters.
And only my characters. And women have to be the salvation. Women are the leaders. Women are the strong ones. The men, they're just turned bitter and weak, and they just die because they're bitter and weak. And I mean, us the woman saying this. I'm like, you can have amazing female characters. You can. I think they proved that with Rogue One. But you have to make sense.
Yeah, it has to make sense.
It has to make sense. It has to fit.
And bringing these new characters in out of left field, I mean, it's clearly it was just just for some kind of an agenda.
I mean, yeah. I mean, okay, have a character like Rey, great, but don't make her so dang Mary Sue. Not that she's, and you know.
Well, people were hoping they actually had, and the thing too, I think there's a lot of disappointment with the fan theories, because some of the fan theories were actually really good. They're like, well, maybe Rey's actually reincarnated Anakin, which explains why she's doing everything so well. And
that would have explained it.
Yeah, I actually would have been okay with that, but it sounded very, like Legend of Korra, because they're like, and then Luke's going to train his father. I'm like, well, that already happened in the Legend of Korra, but would have at least explained why she was so naturally good at everything, because she'd already done it before. And she was just going through the motions again.
That's not, she's nobody.
She's just
nobody. She's just like your neighbor next door who just suddenly woke up and is good at the Force and can do everything and can fly the Falcon better than Han and knew the Falcon better than Han.
And Solo, who just met this girl, is just like, yep, you know what? I'm gonna give you a job. And you're gonna hang out.
Here's
with
the baton. You can have my ship. Totally, you're the new Han Solo.
You can shoot my pet Chewie. I'm gonna give you my dog. I'm gonna give you my dog when I die. I'm gonna give you my dog. And so it's just like.
And I'm gonna get told something else. Because of Chewie. I hate porgs. I think porgs are stupid.
Chewie
I hate
need
them.
to eat more porgs.
I mean, I know a lot of people love them.
Chewie into a vegan or something, because he was like eating porgs and he felt bad and he's like hoarding porgs on the Falcon.
I don't like porgs, and everybody loves them. And
no, everybody doesn't love them.
I don't like them. I think they're just another like ridiculous. I mean, but I like the Ewoks, and a lot of people hate Ewoks. So it is what it is. My opinion. Take my opinion with a grain of salt.
Yeah, but at least the Ewoks could fight. The porgs don't really do much of anything.
They make sad eyes.
Yeah, it's just
and comic relief.
I think the porgs were designed to sell plushies.
I think the porgs were just there because they needed to cover up all the birds in the background. No, they had to give a reason
I've heard that before, because they had a whole bunch of puffins, I guess, on the island.
Which they could have done that, but they made the porgs so
ridiculous.
I know. I just don't like porgs. I'm sorry. I don't.
Yeah, the whole thing is just God. I don't even know where. I mean, this could be like 20 videos. I mean, I completely sympathize and get the frustration that the fans are having with this movie, and it's made 100 times worse by having representatives of the company come out and tell them that it's just because they're a bunch of misogynists.
I know, and the thing is that's also insulting to female fans, because basically you don't count, because if you only count if you liked it. If you liked it, you're a female fan. If you didn't like it, then you're a misogynist. Well, what about all the female fans like me who did not like it? And there's a lot of us.
You guys are basically swept under the rug. I notice anytime that there are these broad statements made in any kind of fandom, it's like it doesn't matter how vocal people are. If you destroy the narrative, you're just kind of like brushed aside. So you're not going to And a lot of the media outlets that support the movie or whatever, they're not going to interview just random female fans. Like, how do you feel about Luke Skywalker dying a complete loser? They just kind of ignore that the average female fan. I think I
went into this before on comics thing. They were interviewing women who worked in comics or did comics, and I was the only one who actually worked for a publisher at one point.
Yeah.
And they asked about women being kept down in comics, and I'm like, I don't necessarily think they always are. I think there's a lot of examples of when there aren't, and I don't think it's the main two, but I think there's a lot of places where women are not kept down in comics. This is a few years ago before women took over everything. And they would not put they interviewed all these people who did not do anything of real publishing or anything. They put all their comments in because they were like, that's right, they're keeping us down. I'm not in comics only because men are there. And then my comment, which was, no, that's not true. I don't think it's completely true. They didn't put in the article.
Yeah, that was freaking weird. Well, that right there, that was when the whole, I hate to use the term SJW, but I'll use the term SJW. That whole thing started. It was about 2014, 2015. And yeah, this is true. She had an interview. They had female comic creators. She actually was working for a publisher, had years of experience.
They were all like self-published webcomic
They were all self-published, like Tumblr people. And they cut her part of the interview out because it didn't fit with the narrative that women are being oppressed.
I was the only one who didn't share that. I mean,
yeah.
I think they are to a point, but I think that you're overlooking a lot of the examples where they aren't. That was bad. I shouldn't say that because I was also the oldest one too, I think. So
yeah. So, but so I think there are a lot of other female Star Wars fans that
there are a lot of female Star Wars fans.
No, that feel that.
No, I mean that they're just kind of brushing under the rug. There's a lot that like it, but a lot of them don't. And and they have problems. And I could have liked Rey. The thing is, that's what kills me. Rose and Rey and them, they're characters I could have liked.
Yeah.
If you had, made them feel real and feel like they were flawed or feel like, they just weren't shoved in there for some kind of personal agenda.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. And it's frustrating. And I just can't wrap my head around the fact that, Disney is allowing Lucasfilm to make these comments. Like Marvel Studios, Now Marvel Comics, it's a totally different ball, but Marvel Studios does not conduct itself like this. Marvel Studios has a pretty good
Marvel Studios actually listened to fans. When fans said this is what I didn't like about things, they went and turned around and did Thor Ragnarok, and they tried to do it by listening to what fans had to say and then adjusting accordingly, and it was amazing.
So Infinity War is basically everything that The Last Jedi wasn't. I mean, it was, the fans had this, you had like all the characters getting together, like you said, they're acting like themselves, and they're playing off each other just like you expect them to. And it wasn't like The Last Jedi, which was a huge missed opportunity for Luke Skywalker to come back in guns blazing and give fans what they wanted, which was, Luke at the peak of his powers, and they blew it.
Instead, it was third grade humor. No offense to third graders. It was like third grade humor. I mean, the milk thing. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Space Jesus and Leia. The your mama jokes. I'm like, what the heck?
It's so funny. And then every time I see Rian Johnson in an interview talking about how much he loves,
smirky little ween.
Yeah, every time I see him talking about how much he loves Star Wars, it's like, no, you're the guy, like I said, who got off on.
He loves his Star Wars.
But his Star Wars isn't Star Wars.
I know, but that's what he loves. When he's saying he loves Star Wars, he's not talking about Star Wars of the past. He loves his Star Wars.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, it's not because he did something wrong. It's because you just don't understand his vision because you're a misogynist or a racist. Apparently, I'm a misogynist now.
Yeah, you're a misogynist. Women are misogynists, too.
I'm a female, a misogynist or something. I mean, it's like... And the thing is, I used to have SJ I'll be the first one, and Neil will tell you this, that if I see something that I think is, somebody is behaving inappropriately, I'll be the first one in there to call them out and be like, you shouldn't talk to this person like that. I don't ever use like terms like racist, misogynist, that kind of stuff, but I will say that's disrespectful. You shouldn't treat them this way. I mean, I will be the first person to jump in there and fight for rights of others, but I mean, I'll be the first one to stand up for what's right, and I don't agree with them on this.
Yeah, I just can't believe that Disney's allowing this. I mean, we're huge Disney fans, and it's heartbreaking. It's like, God, how could you not control? How could you let your people go out there and do this? How could you, and it just blows my mind. And it's going to bite them. And the only way this is actually going to change, I think, going forward is the Star Wars movies are going to have to fail. And when they fail, and they will, then Disney might actually step in and be
they won't. Disney, what they'll do is they'll just be like, oh, they're not making money now, so let's just get rid of
stop making Star Wars movies.
Well, I don't think they can, though, because they have the Galaxy's Edge and stuff.
They've got too much rap. But they might put it on moratorium for like 10 years.
But what I am excited about is they're taking Thrawn and they're tying the Thrawn book and that into a Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a new book coming out in June, I believe it is, and they're going to tie Galaxy's Edge and the Outer Rim into the Thrawn books. And Thrawn people like. I mean, personally, I loved Timothy Zahn's Last Jedi, Heir to the Empire, Dark Force Rising, and I'm glad they're going back and they're bringing Thrawn into the shows. Now they're bringing him into the origin of Galaxy's Edge because they're not stupid. This movie is doing terrible. These movies people don't like it, but they like Thrawn.
Yeah,
so let's tie it into something they do like. So if we fail on the one level, we still have the other.
God, the easiest thing that they could have done,
was smart,
which I mean, it would have been easy.
Not suck in the first place?
Well, yeah, but I mean, they could have just adapted that trilogy of books, which was well received by the fans, into the sequels, or just made some changes to it. But instead, they were like, no, we have to erase all these characters. Yeah. And it's a
get rid of the expanded universe.
And it's all because of man babies.
Mara Jade is my favorite character. I love her.
Well, now they're talking. They're supposedly going to bring her back in episode 9 or some nonsense. Which after they killed Luke, it makes no sense.
No, but that would be awesome because I'd be right there for that because I love her. But I'm just saying, I thought that was cool that they're tying in the Thrawn books into Galaxy's Edge. So you're worried about like Star Wars and the new Star Wars land that's affecting it, but I think they kind of see that coming too. So they're trying to find other anchors to put in place. And if they keep it to the old feel of Star Wars, I think they'll still get people.
Yeah, this is good. Well, I don't think Disney will ever give one director complete control over Star Wars.
Well, they canceled his movies, didn't they?
I've heard different things about that. I've heard that it's kind of been quietly canceled. And other people said they just haven't really gotten started on them yet. So I don't see them ever just giving one director complete, writing control over it, editorial control over it. They basically just handed Rian Johnson the keys to Star Wars like you would hand somebody a $5,000 indie little YouTube movie and just say, here you go, do whatever you want.
I know, that was costly.
Like, what? That will never happen again.
Let's hope that Solo redeems itself, but if any of the rumors I'm hearing are going to be true, then it's going to completely destroy Solo too. So let's hope that's not the case. Let's hope they learned their lessons with the other movies. I have a feeling they didn't, but let's hope they did.
And what's going to happen is people are going to complain about it, and then it's going to be misogynistic pigs. Racist.
Well, the reason I'm here today is because, you know, and I have gone to the defense of many a male fan online when other women were like, "You're just a misogynist. You just don't understand." And I'll actually come in to their defense because I'm like, I didn't like it either. I'm a girl, and I'm backing up what they're saying on these fronts because they're right. And then a lot of times they'll back down, or they won't. They'll just ignore me and talk over me because you know, you can't have the one, you know, dissenting female voice doesn't count. We speak for all the women apparently, even though I'm a woman. And I disagree. But you know, I mean, there are people out there that are misogynists. There are people out there that are racist, and I've seen their comments. And yes, there are some fans that are like that, but they're the minority, the vast minority. Most men I've seen on there do not deserve to be called those names. No. They are pointing out obvious flaws, obvious plot holes, obvious issues, and issues I had as a woman, and I won't stand for that. So
yeah,
that's right.
Yeah,
and I'm fierce.
Yeah, she is fierce. Okay, so we're gonna wrap this one up, and yeah, there might be some more ranty videos in the future. We'll see.
Mostly it'll be him, but sometimes he'll bring me.
We'll see.
If he needs a woman to back him up.
Yeah, right.
Pretty much. So.
Come here, honey, I need you to back up. So, anyway, subscribe to the channel. We're just kind of getting started. We're doing all kinds of pop culture stuff, geek stuff, gaming, arting, all kinds of interesting things. So, we'll talk to you later.
Yeah, bye.